And the time is now. I think that we've seen too much of this, and I think that now, and it's interesting that it's coming on the heels of the coronavirus pandemic, not only here in the U.S. but across the world. But we do need to change the conversation. We need to have a serious, ongoing, fruitful conversation about the problem of racism and social injustice in this country. And I think now might be the perfect time for that to happen, to have that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we'll be continuing to monitor the developments here in Phoenix. We don't know just quite yet if there are protests planned for the rest of this week. But again, that curfew will allow that to happen at least up until about 8 o'clock every single night. And hopefully, we don't see too much more scenes like this, like what we're seeing right now of people having to be arrested. This is video from a little bit earlier ago that you're seeing there.
About an hour ago.
About an hour.
7th Street and Roosevelt, right in the heart of downtown Phoenix. I will say that as this fourth night of protests went underway over George Floyd, earlier there were hundreds marching peacefully in the downtown area. The official protest ended about 7:30. There were still about 100 people in the streets at about 8 o'clock. And then at that point, they were officially in violation of the curfew. At that point, around 8 o'clock, we understand that an ATM was smashed on Central Avenue. At 8:19, police said to the group that was roving around Central Avenue in downtown Phoenix, look, you are an unlawful assembly and you're in violation of the curfew. And then what you see here started to unfold. Police started moving in and making arrests. Several malls in the valley were closed today, some for repairs, some out of just a sense of let's not have what happened at Scottsdale Fashion Square happen at our mall. We'll close out of a sense of precaution today. Scottsdale Fashion Square was closed, Chandler Mall was closed.
Right now on 12 News at 10, another night of unrest across the valley and the country. For the fourth night in a row, protesters have hit the streets demanding justice for the death of George Floyd, who was killed by a Minnesota police officer. But the calls for justice have quickly been overshadowed by the protesters that have turned violent and turned to looting and riots. But tonight, Valley police agencies have taken a stronger stance.
I want to give you a live look right now from Sky 12, and you can see some police presence down there. But for the most part, things seem to be quieting down right now. We will certainly keep our eyes on what is going on.
But around the country, things have been even more volatile and violent. So to prevent that from happening here in Arizona, Governor Doug Ducey issued a state of emergency earlier today and has ordered a curfew that began at 8 p.m. tonight, but it doesn't appear that people will be going home anytime soon.
Let's begin our team coverage tonight with Joe Dana. And Joe, you've been in Phoenix with protesters. You've seen some of the arrests tonight. You've been with the protesters since about 5 o'clock this afternoon. What is happening in the crowd right now?
This has been a tale of two protests. The first one that ended officially at 7:30 with upwards of 1,000 people through downtown Phoenix. It was peaceful. They seemed unified. They ended with a prayer. By 8 o'clock, 8:30 and 9, there were probably 300 to 400 people that were moving throughout central Phoenix area, downtown, north, dozens of blocks. That's when they clashed with police near the I-10. Police pushed them back from getting on the I-10 freeway. And then I want to show you this video. We had a couple of those protesters taken into custody by police at what was a busy intersection at the moment. Some scary moments there, as there were some bystanders around in the area as well. Police took them into custody, and a couple of hundred of these protesters continued throughout the neighborhood. They did damage to 2 different buildings. They smashed an ATM and one door to a restaurant, vandalized a couple of walls that we could see. And now we have here in one of these neighborhoods, several of these protesters ended up also being taken into custody by police, as of course they're past the curfew, the official curfew of 8 o'clock. Above us, a helicopter continues to search for others who may be in the area. Police are hoping, though, this all starts to now dwindle down quietly, but we'll wait and see. Back to you, Mark.
Joe, thanks so much. Let's go now to Team 12's Bianca Bono, who joins us live from Central Phoenix. Bianca, what's the scene there?
Caribe, we are live right now at 7th Street and Fillmore, and it is very quiet where we are. I'll tell you what's happening right now, though. At the intersection across from me, 3 people are in handcuffs. It's unclear if they were out protesting or if they were just walking around downtown, but they're out past curfew. We've been seeing a lot of this over the past couple of hours. Since the clock struck 8 o'clock, everyone now that is out is in violation of this curfew. So what we started to see was the protesters earlier on moving north on 7th Street towards the 10 freeway. They stopped short of the freeway because of a large police presence that was there. Then that's when the officers started deploying tear gas and firing either rubber bullets or pepper balls. That's then what caused the protesters to run east in the direction where you saw Joe just a couple minutes ago. Then the protesters, according to police, were hiding in the dark areas of this quiet neighborhood. So police are still going up and down through the streets, trying to find the remaining protesters in the area and detain them and arrest them for being out past that 8 o'clock curfew. So again, right now, it's just very different compared to what we saw last night and on Friday night. At 10 o'clock when we were reporting to you live, it was chaos. Now it is quiet. So again, that curfew appears to be working, guys.
That's Team 12's Bianca Bono reporting from Central Phoenix for us. We'll continue to check in with her throughout the evening. Meanwhile, we want to go to Scottsdale, which was the scene of a very ugly situation last night. Scottsdale Fashion Square being looted and vandalized. Team 12's Mitch Carr continues our coverage from Scottsdale. Mitch, what's it like out there tonight?
Mark and Caribe, it is completely quiet out here tonight. In fact, the only sound that we are hearing right now, if you can look behind me, this is Scottsdale Quarter. You have a couple of guys that are getting up on ladders and putting boards over the windows. They're not repairing anything. It's a little bit like if you've ever lived on the East Coast and you got ready for a hurricane, they're putting up some storm shutters, so to speak. The thing about that is that they wouldn't be putting those up if they were expecting the threat to go away tomorrow or the next day. You have to believe that with those guys putting up wooden boards over windows, they're expecting more of a threat to come a little bit later. But as far as the Scottsdale police go, they're blocking off every entrance and exit here at Scottsdale Quarter, and it's been completely quiet since that curfew at 8 o'clock. It's just us and the police and those repairmen out here. The National Guard is a few blocks away. There are a couple of Humvees that are parked in a staging area, just ready in case something should happen. But if there was a thought that because Fashion Square Mall was hit last night, that perhaps Scottsdale Quarter or Kierland Commons across the street would be hit tonight, that has proven not to be true at this point. Everything is completely under control here in Scottsdale. We'll send it back to you.
All right, fingers crossed it'll stay quiet tonight, Mitch. Thanks. It's been